Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Kathy?
I'm fine.
Good, good.
Um, I will let you get to it today.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's Johnna. Welcome back. We are going to do a little cooking today. So, Kathy, if you want to pop up my first slide there, do my little intros. Our topic today is not quite cookout food, but real close. Okay, so we're going to do some switch ups on some good old fashioned foods we normally have at cookouts. And just a little reminder there about your celebrateyourplate.org website. Go check that out if you get a chance. I think one, maybe both of the recipes today are from that website. Have a lot of good stuff on there. And then also the choosemyplate.gov is a good site to go to for some recipes, nutrition information, anything you need to know about eating healthy and staying on track. They're going to have things there for you. So check that out. And then, of course, I work for the Highest SNAP Ed program. All right, so you guys hear me talk a lot about, and you see me do a lot of substitutions. You know, I am a firm believer that recipes, for the most part, are a outline for what you really want to cook. So, you know, everybody has got special needs. A lot of people have got, you know, food allergies in their family. You've got special diets in your family, or then you have just personal preference as far as taste for different things. So, these are a few things that you can taste. You can sub out a lot, and you have all seen me do this if you've watched these videos any at all. So today we're going to use dry breadcrumbs in the hamburger that we're going to make. But if you don't have dry breadcrumbs on hand, number one, you can always toast bread, make your own breadcrumbs, but that's a little work intensive. You can always take rolled oats or crushed bran cereal or whole wheat crackers and crumble them up and use those in place of breadcrumbs. For butter and margarine and shortening, for oil and baked goods, you can substitute out applesauce or prune puree, like you use for baby food, for half of what that recipe calls for as far as the oil, the butter, or the margarine. Actually, for like if I'm making like zucchini bread or pumpkin bread or something like that, I will replace all the oil with unsweetened applesauce, and it turns out just fine. And then you can also use the pure prune puree, but it's got a stronger flavor than what the applesauce has. So you need to be really careful about using it if you're going to be using it in like a light, like an apple cake or something like that, where it may overpower that a little bit. And then you're using things to grease your pans. The butter, the margarine, the shortening. Cooking sprays are a perfect thing for that. You can buy the little spray bottles now. They're refillable. Fill them up with olive oil, and you've got your own cooking spray there. Cream. You can use fat-free half and half or evaporated skim milk. Now, there are some things you cannot make whipped cream with evaporated canned milk. So you really do need to use cream for that. So there are some things you can't sub out. But then your cream cheese, you can substitute the low-fat cream cheese or the Neuchâtel, I have a hard time saying that one, or pureed low-fat cottage cheese, which, believe it or not, guys, that works just fine. Take cottage cheese, put it in a blender, and puree it up so it's nice and smooth, and you can use that in place of cream cheese. A little different flavor, but it works just fine. Eggs, if you're trying to trim back a little bit of the fat, you just take the yolk out and use 2 egg whites versus 1 egg. Or you can use the 1/4 cup of the egg substitute that you can get in a little carton. Flours, all-purpose flour, you can use half of what the recipe calls for. Use whole wheat flour along with the all-purpose flour, half and half, and substitute it out that way. Ground beef, make sure you're looking for your extra lean cuts. Try to do the 80, I think it's like 87% and higher, and they do cost a little bit more, but you're actually getting more meat because it's not going to cook down as much. And then you also can use the ground chicken breast or ground turkey breast as well. And then on down through there, okay, mayonnaise. You want to look for the low-fat, reduced-fat versions of it, or use Greek yogurt. You guys see me do that all the time. For meat, you can actually, if you've got a recipe that calls for a pound of meat and a cup of vegetables, well, make it 1/2 pound of meat and 1.5 cups of vegetables. Put more veggies in, and you're going to have that same amount, but you're going to have less fat. Milk. You can use the lower fat milks instead of using whole milk. Use the 1%, 2%, or even the fat-free. Pastas, try to use, instead of all the white pastas, try to use the whole wheat or a spaghetti squash. And until you get your family used to the whole wheat pastas, because they do have just a little flavor, different flavor and texture, do half and half white pasta and half whole wheat. Seasoning salts and garlic salts and celery salts and onion salt and salt in general, you can sub out with different seasonings using different herbs. You can buy, there's one that you can buy already made up in the grocery store, or you can do things like mixing garlic powder, celery seed, onion flakes, that kind of stuff together. It's going to be a different flavor, and I'm not going to lie to you, it does take a little bit of time to get used to it, but start doing like you did, like I was talking about doing with the pasta, do half and half. So if it calls for a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of herb mix, until eventually you get used to that flavor. And then the sour creams are just like the cream cheeses, you know, go for the low-fat versions or use the low-fat yogurt. Okay, Kathy, if you want to go ahead and put it back on me, we'll get started with some cooking here. Our recipes today are, like I said, it's almost cookout food. So our first thing is going to be a mock potato salad made with cauliflower. And a lot of people may have already tried this, but this recipe comes from the Celebrate Your Plate website, and it is really good, to the point where I got my diehard husband, I'm always talking about, he liked it. And then the second one is going to be a black bean burger. This is a meat-free, and don't think this is like the ones they were selling at the fast food places that weren't really that good, you know, not too long ago. This recipe is really good. I did tweak it a little bit, and I'll show you the tweaks because it doesn't show as much as seasoning as what I put into it. But you're going to be amazed at how good these things turn out. Again, old diehard hubby, he liked it. All right, so I'm going to start off with the mock cauliflower salad, and the ingredients are going to be 1.5 cups of cauliflower. Now this is what I had left. I already cooked up my cauliflower over here. This is what was left of a whole head of cauliflower. So now this is the average ones that you get, you know, leaves and all this big at the grocery. So 1 head of cauliflower will make probably about 3 batches of this, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to do some other things with it. I'm going to try to make some of the cauliflower wings, if you guys have seen that going around here lately. And then just a couple of boiled eggs, some plain Greek yogurt. It calls for Dijon mustard. I'm not a fan, so I'm using regular mustard. And then a little bit of pepper. And it calls for dill pickle spears chopped. Well, I've got a jar of dill relish here already chopped up, so you know me, I'm all about going easy. So I went ahead and chopped up my cauliflower and got it prepped before, and then I steamed this in the microwave until it was pretty soft but not mushy. And I recommend steaming the cauliflower instead of boiling it. You can boil it, but when you boil it, it's going to have a lot of water content to it, so you're better off to steam it if you can. You can just put it in a regular bowl. I have my little steamer, but you can put this in a regular bowl with just a little bit of water in the bottom and cover it with some plastic wrap or a paper towel and steam it that way. That way you don't have all that moisture content in there, and it's going to keep it a little firmer, okay? So there's my cauliflower already all steamed up and ready, and let it cool down a little bit. That way, just like if you was making potato salad, you let your potatoes cool down a little bit so it doesn't get all mushy. So I've got that. That step is all done. So next I'm going to chop up my onion. So I'm going to, no, wait a minute. This one doesn't call for the onion. It's in there. Okay. Sorry, wrong recipe. I'm going to peel my eggs, and I boil these and just regular old eggs. Maybe you still got a couple of these laying around in the refrigerator from Easter. So this is a good way to use them up. Because I know sometimes we'll boil up a bunch of eggs. Now, as long as you didn't leave them lay out in the yard for a couple hours with the kids hunting them, we don't want to eat those. But if you had them in your refrigerator, they're perfectly fine. Go ahead and eat those up. So I'm peeling my eggs up here real quick. Yeah, it was doing real good till I got to that point right there. Isn't that amazing how that always happens? Okay, so there's that. And just roll it around. And we're just going to dice these up just like you would if you were making regular potato salad. And you notice I'm not being real super careful with these because, you know, I'm going to cut them up. They don't have to be pretty. I'm not making deviled eggs with them or anything, which is a good thing because they're sticking a little bit. And then we're just going to chop these up real quick and add them into, well, rinse these real quick, got a little bit of shell on them. And we're going to add these into our cauliflower mixture here. And You can see I'm just going to chop them into bite-sized pieces. Don't have to be anything uniform or pretty unless you really want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to scrape those right into my bowl here with my cauliflower. And since I chopped my egg on that cutting board, I'm going to have to grab another one. Just 1 second. And amazing how I've got another one there right handy, okay? All right. And then I'm going to take a small mixing bowl here, and I'm going to mix up my dressing for this. So I've got just a, oh, that's vanilla. We don't want to use that. Vanilla yogurt would not taste very good in a cauliflower salad. So I've got just a container of plain Greek yogurt here. And I'm going to take about ½ a cup of this. And I'm going to kind of eyeball it, okay? So about ½ a cup. This bowl I've got here is about 1.5 cups bowl. Put that in there, maybe just one more scoop. And then since I don't have the dill pickle spears, I'm going to guesstimate that as well. And I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons, tablespoon and a half of this relish. And then 2 teaspoons of the mustard. Ooh. I shook that up, but it still was a little runny. Okay. And then we'll take my whisk, and it calls for a dash of pepper, so let's put just a couple dashes of pepper in here. You're probably not going to need any salt in this, just for the simple fact that you've got the salt in the dill pickles, and you've also got the salt in the mustard that's going to cover that up. So it takes the place of any salt you would have to put in it. And then I'm just going to take this dressing, and I'm going to just put it in here, stir it around. And you're going to have to be just a little gentle with this because cauliflower is not quite as resilient as what chopped potatoes are, so I will warn you. But looky there, guys. Doesn't that look just like potato salad? And after this sits in the refrigerator and chills down a little bit more and blends together, it pretty much tastes like potato salad. The cauliflower has got a mild enough flavor that it takes on the taste of the dressing, so you're going to get that nice mustard dressing like you would have on any regular potato salad, and you're not really going to miss the flavor of those potatoes in there whatsoever. And the cauliflower is going to be way lower in carbohydrates, so that's going to help with your diet right there. Okay, I'm going to set this over. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. Be right back. And we'll get ready and make these black bean burgers. Okay, so our ingredients for those are going to be a can of no salt black beans that I picked up at the store, just drained and rinsed. Tell you what, guys, this little gadget right here, I picked it up for $1 at one of the local dollar stores. Best thing I've ever bought. I'm going to go back and buy about 5 or 6 of them. I use that thing nonstop. So I've got my black beans here. I rinsed them under the running water real well, drained them really well, and we're just going to take a fork and we're going to mash these up, okay? This is a really good job to get the kids to do because it lets them take out a little bit of energy on these black beans, and it's a good thing for them to jump in and help out in the kitchen. And you're just going to mash these up into a paste. Try to get it so there's no whole beans in there, and there's going to be a few bigger chunks in there, but not a whole lot. You want to get them down as smooth as what you can. And like I said, it's a good job for the kids. I imagine too, if you don't have black beans on hand, you probably could do these with kidney beans as well, but you're going to have a whole lot more. The black bean skins work out better than what they would on another bean. So I think the black beans is going to be your best bet. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to take 1 egg, right here. I'm going to crack it into, this is not a boiled egg, crack it into my mix there. I'm going to stir that in with the beans. Let me turn my skillet on so it's going to be getting warm here for us. These go together really super quick. Okay, and then we're going to take a half a cup of breadcrumbs, and these are just plain standard, no seasoning added breadcrumbs. Didn't have all my equipment there. Just a half a cup. A little bit more. There we go. I'm going to take my onion here real quick, and I'm going to dice it up. Actually, I'm going to mince it up. You want to get this as fine as possible because you don't want to leave big chunks in this, because it's just like anything else. You're making a patty. If it's too big, you're liable to get, the bigger the onions or pieces in there are, it's liable to make them crumble apart. So I'm going to put about a half a cup of minced onion in this. Always try to get you a flat surface when you're cutting on a round item so it doesn't roll on you. And I'm just going to rock my knife through there, mince this up as much as I can. Now, like I said, the recipe only calls for some black pepper, and I think that's it. It doesn't call for salt in this. Well, I thought, you know, beans, okay, beans you have to really season, right, guys? Because beans don't have a whole lot of flavor. They take on the flavor of what you're putting in them. So I decided on my own to try these with some extra seasonings in there. So I put in the black pepper, of course, and then I also put in some ground garlic, and, ooh, this is a potent onion, and a little bit of cumin, because black beans, I kind of automatically went with a south of the border Tex-Mex type flavor thing. So I went ahead and added the cumin in, and I think that's really what makes these taste really well. So whatever seasoning you want to put in, actually too, I think I put in a little bit of cayenne too, just to give it a little spice. But it didn't take a whole lot, just maybe about a half a teaspoon. There goes my half a cup of onion in there. Get that out of the way. So let's add in about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And about a half a teaspoon, or yeah, about a half a teaspoon, a little less, of cumin, ground cumin. And then it says a quarter teaspoon of pepper. And then you're also going to put in about a tablespoon of oil in these too. So I'm using olive oil. You need a little bit of oil in them because, I mean, even though we're trying to avoid the fat, just to make these so they're going to stick together with that egg, the oil in there makes it really help out as far as a binding agent too. And then you're just going to mix these together. It's kind of like you're mixing together like a meatloaf mix. Okay. Now I got my skillet heating up over here. So I'm going to put my oil in there. Let it get heating up just a little bit, probably about a tablespoon of oil in your skillet. Like I said, there's not any fat in here. This is all pure protein, no animal fats at all. Okay, so while that oil is getting warm, now the recipe says that this will make, whoa, this has an accent over there. It says it'll make 4 servings, but I like my burgers just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make this into 3 servings and make 3 patties out of it. So you're just going to grab a handful of it, just like if you were pattying up regular hamburgers. Now these don't shrink either, so whatever size you make these, that's what size they're going to be. So you're going to have a nice bun-sized patty. and these are going to, okay, so they won't shrink up, so you don't wind up with this little teeny tiny hamburger on the middle of your bun. And the egg in there is going to make these brown up. My skillet's got a hump in the middle of it. Now, if you're making these for kids, obviously, you're going to want to make these a little bit smaller. And actually, my third one's going to be a little smaller anyway. So there would be a kid size. And they're already starting to sizzle up. Now, if you wanted to, I'm going to wash my hands off real fast, guys. If you wanted to, you could add in extra ingredients in here. If you want to put a few more veggies in, you could put in a little bit of bell pepper cut up would be good. I've also thought about maybe taking a can of the, like the pepper, what am I trying to say? The tomatoes, it's got the chili peppers and stuff in it, taking a couple spoonfuls of that and put it in here to give it a little more flavor. That's the really cool part about these things. Whatever you put into it, it's going to take that flavor. So, you know how we'll make the hamburgers up and we'll put the cheeses and all that stuff in it? Well, we're doing the same thing with this. We're just taking these black beans, we're making a burger, and we're going to be able to give it the flavor of anything we want, and we're not getting all the fat out of it. We're getting all the protein out of the beans. We're getting all the fiber out of the beans, which you don't get in the hamburger, and you're not getting the cholesterol either, so it's going to work out really well. Okay, guys, well, I probably should have started that skillet just a little bit sooner. They are cooking up pretty good there, but I don't think they're going to cook quick enough for us to get them off the off the skillet and onto the bun before I have to let you guys go. So all I can do, Kathy will be putting the recipes up in the chat, and I will put a picture up later on so you can see exactly what these look like. I will top this with some sliced tomato, some sliced onion, a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of, well, Greek yogurt, no mayonnaise, okay. Some lettuce, and just like you would any other topping for any other hamburger, and you're going to be amazed at how good these things taste. They've got just a little bit, like I said, a Tex-Mex flavor to them. You can put some salsa on top of them, over top of your bun, instead of using any type of fat dressing like a mayonnaise or anything like that. So that's going to keep it even lighter yet. Really good take on a burger and getting a lot of good nutrients out of it. So Kathy, what do you think? You ready to try this one?
It's interesting. Let me put it that way.
Okay. The first time I made these, I was really skeptical, I'll be honest with you, because I thought, I just don't think these are going to be good. And like I said, I turned it into 3 hamburgers instead of 4.
Uh-huh.
I gave the first one to my husband. I sat down with mine, like, oh, this is really good. He went back and ate the third one.
Oh, wow.
So he says he was even amazed at how good they were. So they will, I mean, here, they are starting to brown up. You can see there. See how this one is, they brown right up, and you can't even tell after you've got them cooked from a distance. I wish I had put that on the PowerPoint slide I've got. They look like a real hamburger once you have them on the bun. You could really surprise somebody because they'll turn a dark brown just like a hamburger does. But all your seasonings, all your condiments and stuff on there, you can't tell the difference.
Wow.
And then the same with the,
I mean, from here they look like a real hamburger. So
yeah, they do. They brown up really well, and the inside stays nice and moist, just like a hamburger would. Now you do want to cook these, since they've got raw egg in them. You want to cook them to 165 degrees internal temperature. So don't think that like you can just quickly brown them and heat them up. You want to cook them so they're cooked all the way through. But yeah, I flipped them all over. Now you can see how they're turning brown.
Yeah. Well, they look good. What's the smell like?
It
can you smell the
I put the cumin in there, and you can smell the cumin in there, and they just take on the flavor. It's just amazing, everybody. I can't explain it to you, but I'll be all dressed up and put it on a plate and show it to you. I'll put it in the chat so you guys can check back later. Okay,
that would be good. Yes.
So, all right. Well, I hope I taught everybody something today.
I'm sure. Well, you did me for sure. So
Kathy, did you try the cookie dough?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I haven't had time, but I do want to try the cookie dough.
Okay. I want everybody to try these beans. I'm telling you, beans, they are a magical thing. We can make them into anything you want to. So
What is that saying? Beans,
Beans,
magical fruit.
Musical fruit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I was thinking that when I was going to be singing that when we were kids. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next week. Not real sure what I'm doing, but I'll let you all know when we get here. Okay.
Okay. All right, Johnna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.